When it comes to procuring video games as a kid, one of two days are likely to come to mind. Your birthday or Christmas, assuming that you celebrate those days. Yeah, well, imagine my surprise on Easter of all holidays, reaching into my Easter basket provided by my Christian parents and finding a cartridge for Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Metroid Fusion today, the fourth entry in the Metroid series and the one and only sequel to Super Metroid as far as I'm concerned. Metroid 4, as it was called at the time, was announced back in March 2001 and even shown at E3 with a very early build of the game that looks nearly unrecognizable from the final release. Samus in a dark black suit running up walls and ceilings, jumping around a wall like it's Mario Galaxy, and even using the grapple beam, which didn't make the cut in the final game. The only recognizable set piece here would be Samus injecting her arm cannon into this terminal to receive information about the BSL station. This was clearly an early proof of concept for the game, but nevertheless, it got people excited. Keep in mind, this was shown in 2001, so Super Metroid would have released nearly 7 years ago. Yeah, that Metroid drought you've been feeling recently, that's almost always been a thing. But with portable systems like the Game Boy Advance comes portable game design, and Metroid Fusion, thanks to returning director Yoshio Sakamoto's goal of challenging what makes a Metroid game, is no exception. Okay, so this shouldn't be held as gospel by any means, but it should be noted that the trend of portable games back in the early mid-2000s was often to do away with the large and sprawling open-ended adventures and to create something more linear, often with a mission-based structure. Hell, even Metroid 2 was given a smaller, more linear world to explore, where your mission wasn't so much to explore to find upgrades to reach the domain of the final boss, but simply to check these Metroid mini-bosses off the counter at the corner of the screen. Thankfully, the team over at Nintendo R&D1 had a decent head start with lead programmer Katsuya Yamano opting to build the game off of Wario Land 4's engine, rather than building a new engine from scratch. And I think that the most impressive part of that info is that you can't really tell by looking at it. Some of those early E3 showings of the game clearly used Wario Land 4 assets and can still be found in the game via hacking. The traces are still there, but they did a great job covering it up. Metroid Fusion consists of mostly smaller, more digestible worlds for Samus to explore in the form of sectors, broken up by plot dumps in between, with much of Samus's movement kit actively nerfed to prevent sequence breaking, forcing the average player to commit to the linear path. Wall jumps now commit you to the arch of the jump, making Samus unable to Mega Man X up a single wall. Bombs now linger longer before detonating, making infinite bomb jumping impossible. And the cherry on top is that this is a more story-driven Metroid game. We'll get to more of that in a minute. But man, if it weren't for the timing of this game, I think that Fusion might not have been received as well as it did. Don't get me wrong, Metroid Fusion is one of my favorite games in the series, but we had not one but two Metroid games released on the exact same day, side by side with Retro Studios' Metroid Prime on the GameCube, a full first-person Metroid adventure, which, despite being an incredible game on its own, created a fair amount of culture shock in the fan base prior to release, likely making Fusion the more palatable game for some. But ironically, it was Prime that had that more traditional non-linear level design, making this bizarre corruption of a classic a tad more desirable to some. I mean, it looked more like a Metroid game than that one on the GameCube did, and the early reviews sort of reflect that, drawing in 4 to 5 star reviews across the board. Now, imagine being a kid in the early 2000s and looking at all of this promotional material and thinking, holy shit, why is Samus covered in blue Laffy Taffy, and oh my god, are there two of them? Unfortunately, I wasn't one of these kids. For as long as I remember, I already knew the premise of this game well before I had my own copy delivered by the Son of God. Samus is being hunted down by the embodiment of her destructive power, but without a soul, a theme that I was already familiar with thanks to Metroid Prime's Dark Samus, which we'll get to eventually. Now, this is the part of the review where I take a moment to look at the game's extended media before diving into the game's meat and potatoes, but this time, at least compared to Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion barely received any extended media. It received a bit of a manga recap in the debuting series Samus and Joey, that's an interesting name, but after this Metroid Fusion tie-in arc, it's all an original story, and while I'm not personally interested in reading it, it did give us this official image of Samus in a cloak. I'm a sucker for robots or exosuits with a cloak draped over it. God, that's so cool. Now, after Super Metroid set the standard, it's not abnormal for a game like this to start with a plot dump, but man, what we get here is quite meaty. We open with Samus hired by the Galactic Federation, joining Federation troopers on the surface of the Metroid's former homeworld SR-388, making its return from Metroid 2. The team, seemingly unable to take on a single goddamn Hornode, steps to the side to let Samus work her magic, which ends up being one of the greatest mistakes of her bounty hunting career. The Hornode transforms into the most hostile jelly blob I've ever seen since, well, the blob, absorbing itself into Samus, who's unaware of the dangers to come. This parasite parasite hijacks Samus's nervous system, veering her ship into a nearby asteroid belt before being fortunately saved by the Federation, who were able to recover her escape pod, returning it to Federation headquarters. Samus's condition is not great, with the parasite multiplying rapidly inside of her, requiring massive components of her power suit to be surgically removed. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and in remarkably short time, the Federation was able to mix up a vaccine for the parasite from cell cultures taken from the baby Metroid 2 games ago. Now, this thing rewrites her DNA, injecting Metroid DNA into her own. Yeah, that's not a vaccine. This is a lot closer to CRISPR, which I know wasn't really a thing when this game was being written, whatever. Vaccines just inject a benign part of a virus to teach the immune system how to fight it off. It's certainly not a cure for a parasite. Thankfully, this Metroid CRISPR worked flawlessly and remarkably quick. The parasite from her system, this dubbed X-Parasite, is immediately wiped from her system, and Samus, now donning this fleshy blue power suit, survives to fight another day, which the Federation sure used to their advantage, equipping Samus with a new AI-controlled ship to accompany her as she's sent to investigate an explosion at the Biological Space Labs, or BSL, and eradicate any potential X threats now that she's essentially the only member of the Federation capable of combating them directly. Now, you know what I'm wondering? What the heck is the blue stuff on her suit now? Was this always under her power suit between the bulky layers? Are these growths from the Metroid DNA, or simply prosthetics patched on by the Federation? I don't know if we'll ever know for sure, but I love the design of it. I remember when the Fusion suit color scheme was confirmed for Smash Bros. Brawl back in the day. I think I was single-handedly more excited for that than most of the other content in the game, and I was pretty stoked for Brawl. Man, what a premise though. Up until this point, the usual Metroid game was, hey Samus, go wipe out these aliens, or go wipe out those aliens, maybe save your adopted jellyfish son while you're at it. But here, Samus is crippled to a point that she's never been in the series so far, release order wise, not canon. Her status of being the most powerful thing in the room has essentially been stripped from her, and now she's cautious, even afraid for possibly the first time in her bounty hunting career about what lies beyond the corner. Oh, that's nice, we get a map straight away. I dig the purple too for the ship. Really, this broad use of secondary colors is both aesthetically pleasing while also thematically relevant. A fusion of primary colors, if you will. Right away, our ship AI sends us to investigate an explosion in the quarantine bay, intended to be holding specimens from SR-388, as well as chunks removed from Samus's power suit. The area is in lockdown for the most part. None of the doors in the BSL will open for us. Only these pre-opened hatches allow us to move around. Speaking of movement, it's fine. Again, it's a step down from Super in my opinion, with tech like wall jumping actively being nerfed, but it still works for simple wall jumping, and for now, thanks to Samus's lighter suit, she can grab ledges as well, really complementing the flow of movement, at least until Zero Mission sort of retcons it. It feels really good. Samus makes it to the quarantine bay through the dark, silent, and eerie halls of the BSL, all to be greeted by a single Hornode, which, when killed, morphs into the raw X-Parasite we've seen before. But now, thanks to the Metroid DNA coursing through her, Samus is able to now consume these blobs in exchange for health and later ammunition. Okay. It shouldn't be a surprise that the specimens recovered from SR-388 were compromised, with Samus's AI informing us of the Federation's studies. The X are capable of invading its host, mimicking its prey while killing it, and reproducing, able to mimic its victims down to a biological level, perfectly replicating their DNA. Samus's current condition, as well as the surplus of X-parasites now settling across SR-388, brings the AI to a hypothesis that perhaps the Metroids were the primary predators of the X, and Samus could potentially even restore her latent abilities from even stronger X-parasites. Gee, it almost sounds like these Metroids were created for a purpose. Fearing the X are concentrating in a single area in the BSL, Samus is sent to investigate a cluster of X's in the area after the AI unlocks all level 0 hatches in the region. All of those locked gray doors we've seen can now be shot open like any traditional Metroid door. That's nice. And finally, we're sent out into the field, and that hopeful and stoic music kicks in, despite the dire circumstances. And God, I love it. Though before we take on these X clusters, the folks over at Federation HQ have done us a small favor, sending Samus data for missiles to be downloaded. You know, as a kid, I thought that this idea sounded like total fantasy, but now I could 3D print a fucking car, so what do I know? You wouldn't download a missile launcher. Yeah, the fuck I would. Before this though, we have one of many monologues from Samus directly, reminiscing over her old commanding officer, Adam Malkovich, and more specifically, how the Federation AI aiding her in her mission reminds her of him, and how he'd often refer to her as Lady during mission debriefs. Samus decides to name the AI after him, and I'll do the same. I'll be calling this AI Adam for the remainder of this video. Missiles are pretty sweet here, so we only have 2 inventory items this time around rather than the 5 we got back in Super, though this time toggled by R rather than select, but it's not even a toggle, it's activated while holding R rather than simply tapping it to cycle through them, and I love this. It adds to this flow of combat, making swapping between missiles and your beam a lot easier. It feels great. It feels kinda weird though that we're getting missiles before Morph Ball, not gonna lie. I guess downloading a missile launcher was too much for the station's bandwidth, since the power for the elevators has now been knocked out. Though, predictably thanks to the missiles, we're able to break the paneling off the side of this room to go investigate the facility's inner workings. Oh, hey, look at that! Ladders! As a kid, I thought these were spikes, like lethal spikes that would kill me if I touched them, probably a side effect of growing up with Mega Man. Eyeball doors return from Super. As before, they take 3 missiles to take down, though now, instead of just firing a beam to punish you for taking too long to fire at the eyeball, now it's just RNG whether or not they'll fire the beam when they open their eyes. And if they do fire that beam, you gotta wait for the next cycle. It's fucking annoying, especially while speedrunning this game. Remember to catch my Metroid Fusion speedrun race against friend of the show SomecallmeJohnny. I'll have a link for it somewhere. Remember to grab that second hidden E-tank here before the boss, if you care. Oh, Adam, I think I found that X cluster. Wait, Arachnus? Shit, I don't even have bombs, let alone Morph Ball. Nope, never mind. I don't know what the X did to this guy, but he's clearly not the same as we saw back on SR388. They gave the dude fucking sonic slicers and leaves a trail of fire, yet I guess the trade-off was giving him a soft underbelly, turning him into a wimp. Get used to these round bastards. This is the Core X, hidden inside of every boss in the game. The only way you're cracking that shell is with missiles, but not when it's flashing. It's actually pretty satisfying getting the rubber banding movement and the timing of its iframes down. You kinda get into that rhythm and it just feels really good. Anyways, speak of the devil, there's the Morph Ball. I can't say a lot about it, I mean, it's just the Morph Ball, but you can grab 1 block wide ledges and immediately morph into them, which is pretty cool. With Samus's Morph Ball restored, Adam brings concerning news. The Sector 1 breeding environments have been compromised by the X, likely result of Adam unlocking the level 0 hatches, though if you ask Adam, he thinks it's the result of whatever blew up the quarantine bay, which, as you'd have guessed by now, our culprit is none other than the SAX, introduced in the most pants-shittingly way possible. Oh, ain't that pleasant. I'll be honest, this never really unsettled me, even as a kid. There were other monsters in this game that did give me nightmares, but not this thing. I love how it uses Samus's green screw attack, blasting doors open with super missiles. That's fucking awesome. You know exactly how dangerous this thing is if you have Super Metroid under your belt, though we're gonna be stuck here in the underbelly of the BSL for a while thanks to evil Samus knocking out the elevators. And when you know it, this Sector 1 is a recreation of SR388, complete with plenty of returning monsters from the planet. Hornodes, Halzins, Motos, they're all here. Kind of. They're all X's, actually, and get used to that because all but one enemy encountered in the game, at least I think, are all hosts for the X, who have also managed to clog up the air filtration devices for their own needs. If those guys get into the air conditioning, then who knows what kind of hell could happen. Oh hey, you see that in the air filter? Look closer. Closer? Yep, that's a combination Taco Bell and Pizza Hut! Yo, what did the X-Parasites do to the Space Pirates? Dude, that looks sick. I love this design, and not just because it's purple. This look almost returned in Other M as seen in one of the promotional trailers. I guess someone decided, yeah, this design is the result of X mutation and realized that probably wouldn't have worked in lore. That's a shame. Oh, hello there, Elephant Bird. God, I hope that's a mistranslation. Oh, look, this Core X has spikes on it. Yeah, the special Core X that grant you beam upgrades have some added defenses. You need to hit them in the eye to deal damage, and even then, need to make sure to dodge the blast that follows. Now, can someone tell me how or why the X decided to mimic a Chozo statue? Is this implying that the Chozo statues are alive in some way, or at least slightly organic? I mean, it's meant to be a nod to the Chorizo fight from Super Metroid, though this is the only traditional Chozo statue we see in the game. We do see another Chozo statue, just in different circumstances. Alright, that's more like it, and this charge beam is pretty good. You can't do the charge bomb trick from Super anymore, it just auto-fires the charge beam at crouch level, now complete with this bizarre slash projectile that adds even more damage to anything caught in the blast, almost giving the charge beam a sort of shotgun effect. Even our normal shots have changed, dealing extra damage. It's like if Mega Man X's normal lemon pellets got replaced with these lime beams upon upgraded. Other tricks like the pseudo screw attack also return, once again being super helpful in the early game. You could also use this shotgun effect to take out the last stabilizer X with a bit of damage boosting early. That's pretty sweet. Can these zombies please stop trying to shove their face into my crotch? That would be greatly appreciated. The stabilizers are back online. I guess the X thought it would be a lost cause to just do it again. And Adam finally learns of the SAX's presence, an X that's hijacked Samus's power suit and most of her tech from Super Metroid, believing it detonated a power bomb to escape quarantine, creating this domino effect in the BSL. Now, because of Samus's vulnerabilities, Adam advises us not to engage with the saxophone directly. Yeah, no shit. The bastard has my fully powered arm cannon from Super, including the wave and ice beam, and I'm still part Metroid. All it needs is a clear shot and a super missile, and I'm gone. That said, we're being sent to Sector 2 to download data for the Morph Ball bomb, since it's the closest data room to us now that the elevator is busted. Unfortunately, this one is locked behind a level 1 blue hatch, which feels so wrong. Why can't I shoot the blue door open from the get-go? I feel naked. These caterpillars could suck my ass, though. I lost a speedrun dropping down onto one of these fuckers here, though if you kill it, you're almost guaranteed a red X, which refills all of your shit during the early game. That's pretty nice. Thank God this level 1 hatch isn't too out of the way. Alright, that's bombs down. I can't wait to not use these to sequence break and instead spam them all across the floor wherever I go. This is something not new to Metroid, let's be honest, and this tends to bother a lot of people more in this game than it did in previous games, and if I had to guess, it's because of the longer detonation time for the bombs. It's just a hypothesis though. TLDR, having to bomb every inch of the floor to find these pillars here is kind of bullshit. It was annoying back in Super, and it's extra annoying here too. Yeah, okay, I see what you're going for here, Sakamoto. Is that a motherfucking space condom?
Oh god, get me out of here!
The condom isn't that hard of a boss, but I've heard of this guy ending some first-time runs for some folks. I admit it's kind of hard for me to comprehend this, but if I could help people out, pay attention to how fast he's jumping. When he does a slow jump, he's about to be vulnerable for a moment, and release a charge shot followed by some missiles. I already have 60 missiles at this point of the game, so it's not like I'm gonna run out. Whatever. The Spider-Man colored Core X rewards us with the high jump and spring ball consolidated into a single pickup. Thank God. Looks like my secret admirer is really locking me in. Alright, me, where you hiding, you bastard? Let's see if they're as tough as they say, asshole.
Oh no, 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 no! Wait!
I can't believe it just killed me like I was a Metroid. That's kind of awesome. Yeah, Adam wasn't kidding. That SAX do got hands, and you gotta hunker down and just wait for this fucker to leave. If you want to risk outrunning it, go for it, but if you want to play it smart, just listen for those footsteps and that heartbeat. Once that sound is gone, you're all in the clear, at least for now. And hey, those caterpillars that riddled this area, all pupas and chrysalises now. They'll hatch later on in the game, and boy, when they do, there's some real fucking assholes. Good thing I've already got 85 missiles? Goddamn! As you'd have probably expected by now, opening up those level 1 blue doors was a bit of a bad idea, though a necessary evil for progression, which is gonna be a recurring theme for the game going forward as we open up more of the BSL. And the SAX has infiltrated Sector 4 now. The SAX, Samus recounts, is essentially herself without the self-restraint restraint nor empathy, something that could be a threat to the entire universe. And to make matters worse, Adam can't rule out that the SAX is acting on intelligently made decisions rather than chaotic, sporadic attacks. Sector 4 is also home to a being dubbed Serris. Not Serris, the space station from Super, this one is spelt with an S. The Serris is capable of moving at extreme speeds, and thinks that the X want it purely for a strategic advantage, and it's better for Samus to put it down before the X can get their grubby hands on it. Would that work? We've seen the X be able to reanimate these zombies on the floor. Wouldn't it just be able to assimilate the victim's DNA after death, as long as it's still fresh? Oh, cool, it's a water area. There's a lot of returning creatures from Meridia too, including these crab things. It's a lot easier for me to see the crab part here, though back in Super, as a kid at least, I thought that these were like walking heads with Chun-Li style headdresses, but here... No, I just see the crab. If you follow the map the way that you expect, you're bound to run into a roadblock. Though you should still take this route because you're given an E-tank, being rewarded for wrongly going the right way. But no, to make it to Serris, you need to take a detour by blasting through a save room. This is wild to me personally, but this is alluded to earlier. Back in Sector 1, there's a save room with a destructible wall leading to a long vertical shaft that you can wall jump up to get some missiles. So needing to break through the save room to progress isn't that far out there. Oh, Adam, I found Serris. Unfortunately, that's the good news. Oh boy, he's got the speed booster. Alright, try not to overthink this fight. Just stay on a single block and wait for Serris' speed booster to wear off, and try to blast him with a close-range charge shot. Remember Batoon from Super? This is actually nothing like that, never mind. At least the music here slaps. Predictably, we get the speed booster here, which has been appropriately simplified. First off, shine sparking is much easier, allowing the player to input the desired direction during this little short hop that Samus does. Thank God. The speed booster is also activated automatically due to the lack of a run button here, which is something that bothered me as a kid, but today I've come to appreciate. This can also make running into a new sector a bit more interesting since you have just enough room for it to activate. I also just love the rainbow effect it has. It's aesthetically pleasing, what can I say? Samus lowers the water levels thanks to her newfound speed booster, and now the trek to the navigation room begins. Actually, it's not too bad. You just gotta take out this golden crab by taking out a normal crab and letting it mutate into a golden one. Remember this, we're gonna be seeing a similar encounter of this much later. Yeah, we don't spend a lot of time in Sector 4 for now. Not much we can do here, but remember this, we revisit each sector at least once throughout our adventure, so we'll be back here in a bit. I mean, I don't even have the gravity suit yet. You can't really expect me to explore this region without it. Adam is surprised that the X beat her to Serris somehow, but believing that this acquisition of abilities via Core X is to be a trend, proposes that eventually Samus may be able to take out the SAX soon, and that this next upgrade sent from headquarters could certainly aid to that. The super missiles were sent down to Sector 3 after headquarters asked for it to be sent down to Sector 4. I don't know what's up with that, but whatever. Sector 3, the Pyrosphere, is predictably very hot, so we're not gonna be here for very long until we snag the Various suit, which we won't be getting for a minute. The X also hasn't invaded Sector 3 yet, but since we need to unlock these level 2 green doors to grab the super missiles, that feeling of security isn't going to be lasting very long. Jesus, the X didn't even hesitate to hop into Sector 3. It's almost like they were waiting. Oh hey, it's the guys from Super— oh Jesus! Alright, now that's gonna help me tip the scales. Super missiles, now a passive upgrade for your standard missiles. Yeah, that sounds absolutely busted. Now, I'm not totally sure why this decision was made, but I have some guesses. I feel like this was to consolidate missiles and super missiles together as an early attempt to streamline the flow of the game for the portable console, or they saw how busted super missiles could be in Super Metroid and didn't want a repeat of it this time around. I mean, Metroid Prime did something similar, so I'm guessing that they just wanted you to not rely on super missiles as much. It's not like these things are anything to scoff at though. They're still several times more powerful than your ordinary missiles, which I have over 100 of. That's crunchy. Now if only I had something big to try them on. Ah, you'll do just fine. Could you believe that this guy used to give me trouble? Actually, yeah, I can. This dude's a bitch to newcomers. Once you get the hang of how he moves, he's a total pushover, but you need to hit the juicy center of that hitbox, and that center is protected by this sort of outer shell, making it a lot harder to hit him with missiles. I won't deny that the skill ceiling for the box drone is pretty fucking high, but once you get it, he's quite easy to manipulate. Yeah, we'll be seeing him again. Yeah, so that box drone has apparently gone rogue. No idea if it's been taken over by the X, but hey, Adam has given us his blessing to destroy it if our paths cross. But now, with level 2 doors open, sectors 5 and 6 are now available to us. Sector 5 essentially being a massive freezer, so we gotta take a detour from our linear number counting once again to grab the returning Varia suit from Sector 6, as the X have destroyed all of the previous data rooms. Okay, I'll bite. But as soon as Samus heads up to the sector hub, guess it wouldn't be the Federation without some kind of conspiracy. It's only fitting that they're in cahoots with our commanding officer AI. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton to go off of for now, but I mean, come on, it's not hard to immediately conclude that we're being used by the Federation, and not only as a client. Getting the Varia suit should be pretty straightforward, or at least it would if the X didn't mutate as fast as it does. Freezing blue cold X parasites have leaked over from Sector 5, able to do some serious damage to Samus due to the obvious. Thankfully, possibly as a result of their mutation, these blue X can be stunned and temporarily immobilized due to our power beam. Wait, a power bomb block? Well shit, I must have taken a wrong turn. Duh! Okay, y'all mind if I... Uh-oh. Wait, what? Are you telling me that that thing is what set the station off? A mere 20 points of damage? God, that's kinda pathetic. Hey, that's mine, you motherfucker! Oh, shit. Excuse me, sir, can I have my drip back? Yeah, never mind, you can keep it if that's what I'm gonna look like. A massive Mega Core X has somehow taken the Varia suit and is also immune to missiles. That's all I got. It's not a hard boss. You just gotta get the hang of how it rubber bands around you. Now, where's my suit, you overgrown durian? I take it back, this is the absolute opposite of drip. Yeah, whose idea was it to make the Varia suit piss green? I'm not a fan of this. When do we get the gravity suit again? Oh no, a bunch of blue X's. Whatever will I do? Dumbasses. At least that one was smart enough to get away. Oh shit, a bat! Adam is surprised that the X are capable of downloading the Varia suit from the data room, challenging the Federation's understanding of what the X are capable of. Add that to the pants-shitting list. These organic parasites can interface with GF tech. Shame this is the only time we really see this. If any more X are downloading abilities like this, it's all done off-screen from here on. At least Headquarters has begun production on sending us the plasma beam, believing that it could be the key to damaging the SAX, but that'll still take some time. For now, we need to work on restoring our ice beam, and the Federation fears that due to Samus's DNA, we'll need to find a way to contain the ice beam until it's left the suit. So they've come up with a new plan, ice missiles. I guess the Federation had a blueprint for those stored from the time Samus went nuclear. Yeah, the Sector 5 data room is secured, of course, forcing Samus to open up the level 3 latches. Yeah, I get it. It is cool to see that the Varia suit is expanded on to be more of an environmental conditioner rather than just cooling the user off in hot environments, allowing Samus to survive these harsh, sub-zero environments. Ah, there's a red door. Alright, the level 3 terminal is at least hidden well compared to the previous two. A good amount of distance from the start of the sector. Thankfully, this region loops you back around to the entry pretty well, so it's not like it's gonna take much to get back to the data room. Though we've got one of those one-way doors blocking our path, so we're gonna need to improvise a way out of here. Anyways, the ice missiles are another passive upgrade for our missiles, much like the super missiles. And we've even got our old floating turtle friends, the Rippers, to try them on. And you know what? Having the ice beam on a toggle, or ice missiles in this case, is really nice, letting me hold my freezing ability to the side and not requiring me to have all my beams look the same from this point on. Oh god, not another one! Sector 5 has a lot of these puzzles that require you to ignore an X parasite when it's ready to be absorbed and let it transform or assimilate into another being. This room for this missile tank is a good early example. I need to let this X transform into a Ripper to let me freeze and stand on. Okay, that's cool. But then you get to this puzzle where an X flashes to indicate that it can't be absorbed at first, and then it doesn't, basically telling the player, yes, absorb me now! But you need to kill it a second time to let it absorb into this hive thing, filling up this platform allowing you to speed boost on top of it. I'm conflicted on this. I think this gives the player the wrong idea, and not in a good way. I mean, it still works, I figured it out as a kid, but I think that this could have been communicated better to the player. I guess it really depends on if you go into that room in Sector 2 and see that these hives turn into those pillars, because if you miss that, then you're kind of fucked. Alright, we got our ice missiles. Now let's go turn in this mission and... Jesus! Ain't that the thing of nightmares? Oh! Hey!
Emergency in Sector 3.
Oh god, I swear it wasn't me this time. Blame that night terror back there. What the fuck is he doing? So Sector 3 has gone into meltdown. The main boiler has malfunctioned, putting the whole station at risk. Regardless of the culprit, although it's probably pretty obvious, it's up to Samus to shut the thing down with a 6-minute deadline. At least we've got this badass music to keep us company during these dire times. Alright, Sector 3, speed boost, go! Fuck, come here, you long-necked bastard. Hut, hut, hike! Excuse me, sir, could you please step away from the console? I knew it was aliens. Yeah, this dude was supposed to have a much longer boss fight, with full sprites for getting shot by Samus and even an unused animation of turning into a space pirate. If I had to guess, this was probably intended to be the first encounter of a golden space pirate. Oh, what could have been. Anyways, this egghead here gives us the Spazer Wide Beam, okay? It's everything the Spazer was, just in a new name. Whatever. Wide Beam does a better job at telling us what it does actually, that's not a bad change. And it's purple. Kinda odd that this is our first beam upgrade since the Charge Beam, and we're basically halfway through the game at this point. Adam is shocked that the DNA was able to mimic a crew member, fearing that the X can not only mimic a host's DNA, but its memories as well. Add that to the pants-shitting list. It is pretty odd, he thinks, that an X would do something so short-sighted as wipe out everyone on the station for a species so obsessed with self-preservation, unless, possibly, they consider Samus a threat so great that the casualties to their own fellow X-parasites would be worth it. Put a pin on this for later, this plot point will come into play in a while. Though on a more hopeful subject, potential survivors have been found back in the hub of the BSL. With the power restored to the main elevator, it's time to revisit that wonderful beginning area of the game that we've missed so much. And hey, we could finally see the room that the SAX was vibing in before making its dramatic entrance. Wait, this is it? What the hell was it doing in here, napping? Oh, that's a big X gate. Let me guess, power bombs? I'll be back for you later, fucker. Wouldn't you know it, one environmental puzzle later, and the survivors turn out to be the animals we've saved back in Super Metroid. How did they get here? I have no idea, but hey, that good ending positivity pixel from Super was canon. As I said, canon cares not for the frames. The Edecoons and Decors are what these are called, apparently. Nice to see Samus exercise her empathy for the guys, even recalling that they taught her those abilities that she's still using today. It's unfortunate to Adam, though, that the survivors weren't human, heavily implying that every crew member on the BSL is likely dead, which is a little confusing. The human body isn't really ideal for combat, so the X probably targeted the humans purely for intel. Out of fear that the X is growing stronger, Headquarters is sending data for the power bombs to be downloaded in Sector 5, the same room that we got the ice missiles. Finally, a data room we've already been to. Oh, hold on, I don't think I've checked this room yet. Oh god, why the fuck does the Federation have a Ridley here? First off, how the hell did they patch him back together? And second, is there anything alive in there? If there is, he's probably already been taken by the X. Oh Jesus, it's still flying around over there. Hey, I'm ready for you, fucker, whenever you decide to pop out of the shadows. Well, that was a little too easy. I can only assume the trip back won't be... Oh, fuck. Haha, can't freeze me anymore, bitch! How's it fucking feel? Ow. And yeah, power bombs are back. Ironically, they detonate a lot faster than they did in Super, or at least it feels like it. And better yet, they have a sort of vacuum effect, pulling in all of these stray X's for all of that free health and ammo to where the bomb was detonated. Not directly into Samus, but it's still pretty good. Though I'm gonna need some new tinnitus medication after that because holy fuck, they're loud. You know, aside from running from the ghost of Samus past, that mission wasn't too bad. And now I just have to go back to my ship? That's it? Boy, I sure hope nothing goes... Of course. Well, it was nice to have the main elevator working for all of 10 minutes. Oh, fuck. Hello, Ridley. I fucking knew it. Guess we'll be seeing him later. Well, at least my ship has power. Adam reports that the primary reactor for the BSL has gone offline, likely because of the X. All hatches, even ones we've previously unlocked, won't work until power is restored, or even given the location of the reactor, but without power, it's a crapshoot on how to get there since the map navigation isn't working. We gotta find our way there manually. Also, the animals have boarded our ship. Adam insists that they're not X-hosts. God, I fucking hope that's the case. If Dread opens with these fuckers being X-parasites, I'm gonna cry for at least 3 minutes. Their survival must have some kind of significance though. Perhaps they're immune to the X at a biological level like the Metroids? What if the X are somehow programmed to leave them alive by a third party and they're being used in another plot? We'll just have to see. Oh god damn it, it looks like those pupas have hatched. I hate these bastards. Even with the Varia suit, they still do so much damage, especially if you get hit by one of their stingers. Hey, did you miss the space pirates? Yeah, they're back too. Despite looking identical to the ones we saw in Sector 1, these guys are way tougher and able to survive a blow from a power bomb, though still dramatically weakened. This section of the game always has me on edge. I think it's a leftover feeling from childhood, being forced to brave the gauntlet without a save point until the boss. And though I'm beyond confident in my ability to survive this area today, that lingering feeling from childhood persists. Now let's see who's responsible for this mess. Hello, Kiryu. Yeah, this spider's name is Yakuza, apparently. Okay, I can't help myself. Dame Dane, motherfucker. While not aesthetically similar, the first phase of this guy reminds me a lot of Spore Spawn, moving around the screen like one of those DVD player screensavers, forcing it a morph ball in the corner until he's done. It's not too bad, but then the second phase hits and he just starts space jumping everywhere, puking up centipedes? Okay. Charge Shot is a lifesaver here with the wave beam, covering much more area and guaranteeing a hit as long as your timing is right. And your aim, I suppose. And hey look, we got the space jump back, and it's so much more forgiving than it was in Super, which is going to be a recurring theme of future games with the space jump, and I will continue to bring it up every time. Power is restored to the BSL. It's actually just save points and recharge room. No auxiliary power, meaning no elevators or hatches until we can find the real culprit, meaning that we gotta find a manual way into Sector 2 where Adam believes that the source of vegetation is choking out the reactor. Oh god, I hear you down there. Do I need to... Okay. Freeze, bitch! Ah! Oh, please don't have X-ray scope. Please don't have X-ray scope. Please don't. Okay. I guess this is canon to the average any % Super Metroid run. Fuck, I hate this revisit of Sector 2. Okay, that's not true. I just hate the key hunters. If you're not careful, you will be off-screened by one of these guys and lose what feels like half of your health at times. And a pseudo screw attack isn't enough to one-shot him. I try to powerbomb essentially every square inch of the place just to be safe. Alright, now that's a Spore Spawn boss. Oh, there's that other Chozo statue. Yeah, this guy is incredibly easy once you find out that you could sit in the single spot in Morph Ball mode and just not get hit. At least until you blast the front of the statue off and it starts firing plasma beams at you. Then you gotta jump and duck under them. I guess we know what this Chozo statue was guarding before it got taken by the X. Nice to have the plasma beam back, especially for the key hunters. Adam, however, is surprised that the plasma beam was acquired by Samus. Remember, the Federation was going to send this to us at one point, so I guess that they did and Adam just didn't tell us. Oh, whatever, no time to argue. There's been an explosion in the Sector 5's data room, finally revealing that large fucker in the background was to blame. The Nightmare, a gravity manipulating science project / bioweapon. The only silver lining here is that we might get our gravity suit, but what the fuck? Who the hell were you gonna deploy this thing against? Certainly not the space pirates, since they seem to all be dead, I think. Sector 5 is messed up, the Nightmare leaving a trail of destruction in its path, but it was nice enough to take out this red door before I was supposed to unlock it. These aqua pirates are sure something. Either the ice from Sector 5 has melted down or the water from Sector 4 has begun leaking in. I guess that's how you get mermaid pirates. Alright, now where is this? Oh my. Well, that's terrifying. Yeah, this guy unironically gave me nightmares as a kid. It's kinda hard to explain why when the first phase of this is blasting off his gravity cock, until he activates the gravity effect and renders my missiles useless. Once his gravity cock has taken enough damage, it's time for phase 2, the Nightmare pulling back and... What the fuck? Damn, 2 cycles? That's not too bad. Now where's my gravity suit? Oh, thank God, now I'm no longer puke yellow. Oh, fuck you. They knew I was gonna use a power bomb here. Doing so puts up all of these pillars to punish me, keeping me from going up. Kudos, level designer, asshole. Well, regardless of where this water is coming from, we sure did end up in Sector 4. Hey, Adam, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. That's okay, at least the music is fucking beautiful. Anyways, we end up unlocking the red doors without Adam's permission. Boy, I sure hope we don't get chewed out for that later on. And no, I'm not gonna do the Shine Spark skip to get that secret dialogue that tells me how cool I am. I can already cool myself off with the new and final missile upgrades, the diffusion missiles. I'm sure many of you guys out there were just like me and had no idea what diffusion meant as a kid. See, this is the part of the video where the smartasses come into the comment section and go, no, I totally know what diffusion was when I was 8. This missile upgrade is pretty good though, creating a massive AoE for the missile's freezing effect while also taking out missile blocks from a distance. Sadly though, despite the charging graphic, it doesn't add any damage to the missiles, it just means that the AoE effect is ready to go. But everything on screen freezing from a single missile? That's nice. Though I guess I broke more protocols than just unlocking the level 4 doors. Adam has no recollection of HQ sending the data for diffusion missiles, though he's definitely more upset about Samus unlocking those red doors. Thankfully, there's no time for scalding. Remember the box drone from Sector 3 that ran off? Yep, the bastard is back and apparently mutated by the X and going on a rampage through Sector 6, with Adam demanding that once we take it out that we leave immediately. Oh, trust me, Adam, I'll be doing much more than just leaving. Let's see, is he over here?
Warning, no entry without authorization.
Guess not. Looks like I need the wave beam. Gee, I wonder who on earth has the wave... Hi, box. Remember to drop a power bomb as soon as you start this fight so that you can expose the ladder on the ceiling. That makes this fight a lot easier. Oh look, he's got rockets now that are arguably easier to avoid than his previous fire bombs. That's kinda weak. Alright, I know some of these X abilities have been a reach, but how in the goddamn did Box have the wave beam? Whatever, at least our beams are fully upgraded now, and goddamn is your charge beam fucking devastating now. Well hey, at least we could break into that hidden sector. Fuck you, Adam, what are you hiding in here? This sure reminds me a lot of Serris stations where they did tests on the baby Metro. Oh god damn it. I guess the Federation just couldn't fucking help themselves. Yeah, remember how they had that batch of Metroid DNA just on hand and ready to go? Yeah, that wasn't all just for life-saving medicine. Of course they're growing these fuckers in a lab, including fully raised betas, gammas, and zeta stages. But oh boy, where's that Omega Metroid? Oh god, again, I swear it wasn't me this time. Oh, I guess it was actually. Dumbass SAX really thought it could take on a group of baby Metroids, though I guess the Sax really does consider these Metroids to be more of a threat than I am. It didn't even acknowledge me before it got devoured. The hidden sector is jettisoned off the station, killing the SAX, where Adam is furious to say the least. We ignored his orders and threatens that we'll pay the price for that soon enough. Holy shit, Samus actually chimes in and challenges Adam. That's nice to see. I guess with not a lot to lose, Adam doesn't hesitate to inform Samus of the Federation's Metroid breeding program, insisting that it's for peaceful applications. Sure. I mean, if it wasn't obvious, Sector 1's perfect recreation of SR3D8's ecosystem was ideal for breeding Metroids, and HQ even learned how to rapidly grow a Metroid through its life cycle, potentially sending a Metroid straight from its infant stage up to an Omega. Oh, and by the way, there's upwards of 10 SAXs aboard the BSL at this point, urging Samus to just give up, abort the mission, and bail the station, where she reminisces that the real Adam would have said the same thing, just with a bit more compassion. Hey, you know who doesn't deserve compassion? These gold pirates. They're forced to spawn after taking out these Genesises. Genocide? Whatever. They're pretty easy once you know how to exploit them. You're supposed to shoot them in the back with a charge shot, but because of an oversight in their programming, you could just fire a charge shot, turn around, and I guess that's all the game checks for, making sure that you're facing the same direction as the pirate is when the charge beam makes contact. Hey Adam, why does this ship have its own Torian? Are we about to see a recreation of Mother Brain? Oh no, it's just... Ow. Alright, I know that he dies faster with charge beams, but god damn it, I have so many fucking missiles at this point. Okay, never mind, this is taking too long and I don't think my ears can handle this. Finally, the screw attack. Amusingly, the manual says that the screw attack isn't usable underwater without the gravity suit, even though that scenario is literally impossible without cheating. Perhaps it was intended to be acquired earlier, I don't know. Thankfully, it's as busted as ever, and provides us a mean through these screw attack blocks we've seen through our adventure. This E-Tank and Power Bomb always fuck me up though. You gotta do some fancy shine sparking shits for these bastards. Alright, now it's time for cleanup, and boy, this is one of the more monotonous cleanups in the series at this point. The main elevator to the sector hubs shut down if you use it, essentially creating a point of no return, so you need to use these passageways between sectors. Gee, it sure is nice of the Federation to at least put these signs up. Hey Adam, am I supposed to be able to shine spark into fucking space to grab these power bomb upgrades? I'm surprised it didn't suck the atmosphere out of the place. Adam has made his decision. Samus is to abandon the BSL and leave the rest to the Federation. Samus protests, pointing out the obvious scenario that the Federation will be fucking slaughtered by the X the moment they set foot in the station. But that won't stop these space colonizers. God, are we sure that these guys aren't the real space pirates? No guys, the Galactic Federation is cool and totally not as much of a threat to peace in the galaxy as the pirates are, I swear. Samus comes up with a plan to set the station to self-destruct. Destroying the whole facility and hopefully the X would be a better outcome than the X falling into the hands of the Federation or vice versa. Until Adam, being the dick that he is, locks Samus into the navigation room under orders from the Federation, which Samus, in a Freudian slip, refers to the AI directly as Adam, catching the AI off guard. The AI questions this Adam person, and even goes as far to call the original Adam a fool for giving his life to save Samus's. Gee, this Adam guy sure sounds interesting. I do hope we get another game to, So yeah, after a short back and forth, the AI, somehow and very suddenly, suggests to Samus that altering the planet's propulsion system would bring the planet below into the station's self-destruct radius, even pointing Samus to the operations room to adjust the ship's orbit into the planet, dropping that "any objections, lady" phrase that Samus remembers him for. Yeah, I guess this AI really is the real Adam's mind backed up into a computer, which really adds to how fucked up the Federation was, if you ask me. Now, this is under the assumption that they backed up his brain without his consent, and I really wish there was more time to explain how the Adam AI suddenly flips to aid Samus in destroying the BSL. It feels out of character, but I admit, it is a great moment. But first, we've got some cleanup to do, and sadly, I don't have a lot to report on. It was about 40 minutes of just wandering around, solving puzzles, and collecting way more power bombs than anyone has a right to have at a single time. Fucking 74 power bombs! How the hell is anyone going to use 74 power bombs without purposely trying to drain them all? Whatever, at least we get to see the BSL's reactor no longer covered in vegetation. God, that's beautiful, and always rewarding to see before we use it as a planet-destroying nuke. Speaking of... Alright, let's get this over with. The SAX as a boss is underwhelming. Maybe this was done on purpose to emphasize how powerful Samus has become, but it really is a game of rhythmic charge shots fired as soon as the SAX lands. Though the fight is still incredibly punishing. The Sax can knock out a single E-Tank at a time, though it always felt like I was in an anime Dragon Ball fight whenever we both screw attack into each other. It's a childhood-like feeling that I can't really explain, but I love it. The SAX is quickly defeated, but not before breaking out its ultimate form. A motherfucking Resident Evil monster that is a pretty great callback to the Hornode that started this whole fucking thing. Shame it's even more of a chump than its raw form. Look at how cool that gun arm is, and it doesn't even use it. Hell, you can even one-shot the guy if you fire a diagonal charge shot just at the right angle when it jumps. It's a shame. I wish there was more to this fight. Come on, dumbass, where's all that intelligence I keep hearing about? Give me Ice Beam. Oh, it got away. I guess it could just do that. Oh well, I'm about to make a dent in the solar system. Even that bastard can't survive.
Propulsion sequence activated. Destination, planet SR-388.
Oh no, my ship is an egg! Jesus, Adam wasn't kidding about these Metroids. Dude was the size of a Super Metroid a few minutes ago. Christ, it took out all of my energy in a single swipe! Why did it attack me? I'm one of you! Oh gee, now if only something as powerful as I could come in and... Yeah, okay, I saw that coming. The SAX, predictably seeing the Omega Metroid as a larger threat than Samus, decides to sacrifice itself for the sake of self-preservation of its species, and loaning Samus the Ice Beam. Alright, I guess Adam was fucking wrong about me not being able to use the Ice Beam, but hey, here we are! Also, why does the Ice Beam work on the Omega Metroid when it was outright immune to it back in Metroid 2? Perhaps this was a deliberate mutation by the Federation so that they could control them better? I don't know. Samus destroys the Omega Metroid in a very quick, though still intimidating boss fight, with her ship swooping in to save the day, sending the BSL into the surface of SR-388, erasing the planet from the solar system. Any hopes of the X and the Metroid surviving the planet are literally eradicated. Also, I hope the SAX isn't alive in me in some way, because it's probably really mad that I blew up its home planet. Samus reminisces over Adam, the quote, perfect military mind whose wisdom was jammed into a computer. She doubts the Federation would understand the decision to destroy the BSL and the planet below. I mean, why would the colonizers have empathy for its greatest weapon being nuked from orbit? One of them ought to understand. I hope. But hey, you might be asking, how was the ship able to flee the station without Samus to pilot it? No, it wasn't Adam. The answer is actually a lot simpler, my friends. We simply saved the animals. Metroid Fusion is a bizarre deviation from the traditional Metroid formula, and I am all for it. I love seeing beloved game franchises try out a new genre while still calling back to its roots. And while on the surface, Fusion looks a lot more like a Metroid game than, say, Prime, there's no denying how far separated this was from the masterpiece that is Super Metroid. But in my opinion, I think it was handled quite well and had a great vision of the game that they wanted it to be. And honestly, like I said before, its linearity is something that made this game great for entry-level speedrunning. I'm sure this is nothing impressive in the grand scheme of things, but I was able to get an in-game sub 1 hour, and that felt like a massive achievement when I was able to pull it off. Once again, the credits music here is a fucking bop, but come on, it's Metroid. That shouldn't really be a surprise at this point. 3 hours, 20 minutes, 100%. Not my worst time, but far from my best. Honestly, if I didn't forget to pause to take notes, I would have at least gotten sub 3 hours. Interestingly, in the Japanese release of the game, there's 2 additional difficulties, for kids and for adults, essentially easy and hard from my understanding, which added extra ending images depending on your difficulty, time, and collection rate, and these are interesting, showing for the first time in-game Samus's past of her colony being destroyed by Ridley and the space pirates, being found by the Chozo, and raised into the half-bird super soldier she is today. Also, buff Samus with a pistol and ripped jorts. Someone is very happy right now, I can tell you that much. But as it stands, the last Metroid is Samus. And as far as we know until October 8th, Samus is the last sentient being of Metroid DNA and Chozo. Hell, maybe even her suit could be reverse engineered to resurrect the X. Samus is a walking bioweapon, and I can only imagine what lies in store for our favorite bounty hunter in her next mission. Which I'll see you next mission. I fucked that up. I'll see you next time, guys.